Friends, comrades, hope everybody's doing well. And today I want to talk a little bit about public speaking. So I just want to say thank you very much for the people who came to see me speak this weekend and the kind words that I heard from all of you. I really appreciate it. And then I got some DMs about people asking me, how do you do that? How do you go up on stage and deliver speeches like this? So I'm assuming that person is asking me, well, the couple people who asked me, I'm assuming that you're asking me, how are your speeches both informative and entertaining at the exact same time to capture people's attention? And so it took me a couple of days to think about this before I can give you, an intelligent answer. And it dawned on me when I was looking at some of the other speakers. So before I did my speech in the afternoon, I went to go see other speakers during the day. And a lot of them, well, actually, no, that's not true. All of them they all had slides, and they all had slides with a lot of words on them. And I could see that they were, although the information was great, information was great. They were reading from the slides. They were reading from the slides, and there was a lot of words, and I could see people just kind of tuning out, and it was almost as if it was like a snooze fest in the room. So what do I do differently to capture people's attention and imagination? Well, the first thing is, I'll give you an example. So the first thing is I was giving a lecture on entertainment and the future of virtual reality. So first of all, I stuck to my subject and I gave as much value about that as possible. And the way in which I did it, in order to grab people's attention and make sure that they're not on their smartphones after 30 seconds of listening to me, is, well, I don't put any, there is no slides for when I give a presentation. Maybe put one or two videos so people can understand what I'm talking about. But other than that, all I'm doing is I'm just, I'm going from story to story. So here's the way I do it. I'll say, okay, well, in this presentation, I'm going to talk about these, let's say 5 points, right? So these 5 points to drive one universal point home. So my last speech, everything that I want to talk about was about the power of observation and the power of imagination, and how I built my companies around that. And the first company that I built, how I only got one of those two right. So the power of imagination. So when I created my first augmented reality company, but not the power of observation. And in my new company right now, Phenomena, how I got those two things right, the power of observation and the power of imagination. And I'm gonna make a whole other video about that. But right now we're talking about how do I capture people's attention. So I'll have, let's say, 5 or 6 points, and all I'll do is I'll write down on a sheet of paper and I'll put it like next to my bottle of water, and it'll just be written intro, let's say 2015, 2016, augmented reality, virtual reality, and then one other point in conclusion. And so every single one of those points in my head unlocks a story of 5 minutes. So in my introduction, right? So in my introduction, I know exactly what I'm gonna talk about. I'm saying, okay, well, how did I come from the music industry to starting my first augmented reality company, starting it with, with only $2,000 in the bank account, and how I slept on the floor to get the company going, and how I got it from struggling to scaling all the way up to 25 people, and how do we get all these major international contracts. So I can tell that story in one block format of 5 minutes. And then let's say I wrote 2015. So what happened in 2015? Well, I went to South by Southwest. I did a speaking engagement. I got to meet with some, with some major film studios, and with that I was able to bring some contracts home, and then I could speak about that for another 5 minutes, and so on and so forth. And so all these blocks, I do them in stories. And the way I do them in stories is that they're personable. You know what I mean? They're personable, and I try to take very, very complicated subjects, and I try to bring them down into something that's extremely simplistic to understand, to drive one message with a story format. You see, the way our minds process information as humans is we basically record stories, and we do that through pattern recognition, and that's just the way the brain evolved over millions of years. And so with that's the way I like to give my presentations, and that's the way I'm always able to give something that's both informative and entertaining at the exact same time, because I make it personable. I say it in a way that everybody can understand, and I do it in story format. So that's my gem. That's my gem for you guys. I hope you like it. If you like these stories, if you like these videos, subscribe, hit that bell button. I'm always gonna upload as many value bombs as possible, as many gems as possible that I've accumulated over my last 15 years as an entrepreneur. And I want you to know about all this. I want you who you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur to actually dive in and do it yourself. And I want to give you as much information as possible so you can be successful as well, and you can pay that information forward as well. So with that, my friends, search forward. Also, look me up on Instagram and Facebook, Awane Jones, Awane Jones. Connect with me, send me DM messages. I'd love to hear from you. And with that, have a nice day.